most of us live in cities. You watching right now probably live in a city, or at least a built-up urban environment. And I do too. I live in a regional centre, but it's still a city. I feel as though there's this draw toward, maybe a cabin in the woods or something where you are completely surrounded by nature. And you might feel that too. You might be the kind of person that feels renewed by being in a natural setting. I'm definitely one of those people. I find that one of the most soul nurturing things I can do is put a bag on my back and walk in the bush for 3 or 4 days, sleeping out in nature, roughing it, but just feeling this strong connection to the natural world that's around me. And I used to feel as though I needed to do that in order to feel a connection to the natural world. But I've learned that that's not true. You can get that sense of connection in a much easier way, a much more pragmatic way. And I learned this while I was on a meditation walk with a local general practitioner. He was a slightly alternative doctor, nothing crazy, but he was into meditation and into environmentalism. And he recognized that meditation was an important part of somebody's well-being, and being in nature was also. And so he'd run these overnight hikes in the bush. And me, being someone who loves being in the bush, is interested in meditation, and he was actually my GP. I thought, well, I have to go along for this. This is going to be really interesting, and it was. And it was interesting for a number of reasons, but there was an experience I had whilst I was on this walk that has stuck with me. And it went a little bit like this. We were walking along the track together. There were about 5 or 6 of us, and we came into this clearing, and it was quiet in the clearing, except for a few birds, mostly quiet. And we stopped, and he asked us to find a space, close our eyes, and just listen. So we did that. And while we were listening, he asked us to imagine that we were in a barren car park with concrete as far as the eye can see. And he asked that we embodied the feeling of what it was like to be in that car park. And it felt cold, and it felt like a space I wanted to retreat from and not be in. And he let us sit with this feeling for a little while. And then he asked us to open our eyes and just take in the natural world around us. And it wasn't a particularly impressive natural setting. It was just a clearing, a few small trees, some grass, some shrubs, a couple of little birds flying around, probably some flies. But that difference in quality between the car park and that natural world was completely different. And then he gave me an idea to play with that has changed my experience of nature in urban settings. And the idea was that you can tap into this quality whenever you want. All you need to do is find a tree and look at it for a little while. Or could be as simple as a house plant, or if a bird lands on your windowsill, just connect with that a little bit. And you can imagine it like a vial that every time you do this, it just fills it up a little bit. You know, going for a multi-day trek in the bush, that's something that's going to completely overflow this vial, and it's worth doing. But you can still top it up in your day-to-day experience by being out in a park, or having some house plants around in your home, growing something, or just noticing the wild animals that do inhabit your urban environment, which there will be them. They tend to find their way even into the most built up urban spaces. So that's a little exercise for you to play around with. I want you to sit and look at a tree for a little while, or something natural. I want you to start off with a meditation on being in a cold, concrete, sterile environment, and then open your eyes and see something natural, and see if there's a different quality about that compared to a totally synthetic environment. Recognize what that quality is for you, and see if you can start to notice that quality in the world around you. Even if there's not a lot of natural elements in that world, just see if you can notice that quality in the natural elements that do exist. So I hope this idea helps you. Definitely helped me. And if you think it'll help someone else, please feel free to share it, or like this video, or subscribe to the channel. Until next time, take care.